1. What is the primary function of the Florida Real Estate Commission? A. Supervising real estate education programs. B. Providing legal advice to real estate agents. C. Regulating and enforcing real estate law in Florida. D. Facilitating real estate transactions. Answer: C. Regulating and enforcing real estate law in Florida. Explanation: the primary function of the Florida Real Estate Commission is to regulate and enforce real estate laws in Florida, ensuring ethical and legal practices in the industry. 2. Explain the term fiduciary duty in the context of a real estate agent-client relationship. A. Providing financial advice to clients. B. Ensuring maximum profit for the client. C. Acting in the best interest of the client. D. Maintaining confidentiality of client information. Answer: C. Acting in the best interest of the client. Explanation: fiduciary duty in a real estate agent-client relationship involves the obligation to act in the best interests of the client, including loyalty, confidentiality, and full disclosure. 3. Describe the process of obtaining a real estate license in Florida. A. Completing a degree in real estate. B. Passing a background check only. C. Completing a state-approved education course and passing the state exam. D. Working under a licensed broker for a year. Answer: C. Completing a state-approved education course and passing the state exam. Explanation: to obtain a real estate license in Florida, an individual must complete a state-approved education course and pass the state licensing exam, along with meeting other requirements like a background check. 4. What are the key differences between a real estate broker and a sales associate in Florida? A. Brokers can own agencies. Sales associates cannot. B. Sales associates can work independently. Brokers cannot. C. Brokers deal with commercial property. Sales associates handle residential. D. There are no significant differences. Answer: A. Brokers can own agencies. Sales associates cannot. Explanation: the key difference is that brokers can own their real estate agencies and manage sales associates, while sales associates must work under a licensed broker and cannot operate their own agency. 5. Define closing costs in a Florida real estate transaction. A. Costs related to property maintenance. B. Monthly mortgage payments. C. Fees and expenses incurred during the transfer of property ownership. D. Annual property taxes. Answer: C. Fees and expenses incurred during the transfer of property ownership. Explanation: closing costs in a real estate transaction include various fees and expenses associated with finalizing the transfer of property ownership, such as title insurance, appraisal fees, and attorney fees. 6. Scenario: a property in Florida has a lien placed against it. What implications does this have for a potential sale? A. The property cannot be sold until the lien is removed. B. The sale proceeds will first be used to pay off the lien. C. The buyer takes responsibility for the lien after purchase. D. It has no impact on the sale. Answer: B. The sale proceeds will first be used to pay off the lien. Explanation: when a property with a lien is sold, the proceeds from the sale are typically used first to pay off the lien before the remaining funds go to the seller, ensuring the debt attached to the property is cleared. 7. What is the homestead exemption and how does it affect property taxes in Florida? A. A tax deduction for first-time homebuyers. B. A tax exemption for properties over 50 years old. C. A reduction in property taxes for primary residences. D. An exemption for all rental properties. Answer: C. A reduction in property taxes for primary residences. Explanation: The homestead exemption in Florida provides a property tax reduction for homeowners' primary residences, lowering the taxable value of the home and, consequently, the property taxes. 8. Describe the purpose and function of an escrow account in real estate transactions. A. To hold the property deed until closing. B. For the buyer to save for future property taxes. C. To securely hold funds or documents until the completion of the transaction. D. To provide insurance for the property. Answer: C. To securely hold funds or documents until the completion of the transaction. Explanation: an escrow account in real estate transactions is used to securely hold funds, important documents, or other assets until all conditions of the transaction are met and the deal is finalized. 9. Explain the concept of title insurance and its importance in Florida real estate. A. Insurance protecting against property damage. B. Insurance covering the real estate agent's commission. C. Insurance that covers the cost of property repairs. D. Insurance protecting against losses from defects in the title. Answer: D. Insurance protecting against losses from defects in the title. Explanation: title insurance in Florida real estate is crucial as it protects both buyers and lenders from potential losses or legal fees that might arise from undiscovered defects in the property's title after the sale. 10. What is the significance of a good faith estimate in real estate financing? A. An estimate of the property's market value. B. A non-binding estimate of closing costs. C. A legally binding contract for the sale price. D. An estimate of annual property taxes. Answer: B. A non-binding estimate of closing costs. Explanation: a good faith estimate in real estate financing provides a borrower with an estimate of their closing costs and loan terms. It's designed to give buyers a realistic idea of the costs involved in their loan before closing. 11. Scenario: a real estate agent in Florida is found to have violated ethical standards. What are the potential repercussions? A. Mandatory ethics training. B. A warning and a fine. C. Suspension or revocation of their real estate license. D. No consequences under Florida law. Answer: C. Suspension or revocation of their real estate license. Explanation: violating ethical standards can lead to serious consequences for a real estate agent in Florida, including the suspension or revocation of their real estate license by the Florida Real Estate Commission. 12. In Florida, what constitutes a legally binding real estate contract? A. Verbal agreement between buyer and seller. B. Written agreement, consideration, mutual consent, and legal capacity. C. A handshake deal with witnesses. D. Email confirmation of the sale terms. Answer: B. Written agreement, consideration, mutual consent, and legal capacity. Explanation: for a real estate contract to be legally binding in Florida, it must be in writing and include consideration, something of value, mutual consent, and parties with legal capacity to contract. 13. Define comparative market analysis and its role in real estate transactions. A. An assessment of property taxes. B. A valuation tool comparing a property with similar, recently sold properties. C. A survey of the property's condition. D. An estimate of the property's future value. Answer: B. A valuation tool comparing a property with similar, recently sold properties. Explanation: comparative market analysis, CEMA, is a tool used in real estate to estimate the value of a property by comparing it to similar properties that have recently been sold in the same area. 14. What are the legal implications of dual agency in a Florida real estate transaction? A. It's illegal in Florida. B. The agent must have written consent from both parties. C. The agent receives double commission. D. No special requirements. It's a common practice. Answer B. The agent must have written consent from both parties. Explanation. In Florida, dual agency, where an agent represents both the buyer and the seller in the same transaction, is legal but requires full disclosure and written consent from both parties due to potential conflicts of interest. 15. Scenario. A buyer discovers undisclosed defects after purchasing a property. What are their rights under Florida law? A. The buyer can return the property within 30 days. B. The buyer may seek legal action for non-disclosure. C. The buyer must accept the property as is. D. The buyer can request a price adjustment. Answer B. The buyer may seek legal action for non-disclosure. Explanation. Under Florida law, if significant defects are discovered after purchase that were not disclosed by the seller, the buyer may have legal recourse to seek damages for non-disclosure or misrepresentation. 16. Explain the process and legal requirements for a deed transfer in a real estate transaction in Florida. A. The deed must be verbally agreed upon by both parties. B. A written deed signed by the grantor and delivered to the grantee. C. The deed must be notarized and approved by a real estate agent. D. The deed is automatically transferred upon payment. Answer B. A written deed signed by the grantor and delivered to the grantee. Explanation. In Florida, for a deed transfer in a real estate transaction, the deed must be in writing, signed by the grantor, seller, and delivered to the grantee, buyer. It often also requires notarization and official recording. 17. What is the role of a title company in Florida real estate transactions? A. To provide financing for the property purchase. B. To handle the physical transfer of the property. C. To ensure the title is valid and to facilitate the closing process. D. To inspect the property before sale. Answer. C. To ensure the title is valid and to facilitate the closing process. Explanation. A title company in Florida plays a critical role in real estate transactions by ensuring the property title is valid, free of liens, disputes, handling the escrow account, and facilitating the closing process. 18. Describe the legal concept of adverse possession in Florida. A. The right to possess property after renting it for a certain period. B. Acquiring title to property through continuous and notorious possession for a specific period. C. The act of possessing property during a legal dispute. D. Possession of property after the owner's death without a will. Answer. B. Acquiring title to property through continuous and notorious possession for a specific period. Explanation. Adverse possession in Florida allows an individual to acquire legal ownership of a property if they have continuously, openly, and notoriously occupied the property for a specific period, typically 7 years, and meet certain legal requirements. 19. Scenario. A Florida homeowner wants to convert their residence into a rental property. What legal and regulatory considerations must they take into account? A. Zoning laws, rental license requirements, and tenant rights laws. B. Only the homeowners association rules, if applicable. C. The color and exterior design of the rental property. D. Approval from all neighbors within a 1-mile radius. Answer. A. Zoning laws, rental license requirements, and tenant rights laws. Explanation. When converting a residence into a rental property in Florida, the homeowner must consider local zoning laws, obtain any necessary rental licenses or permits, and ensure compliance with tenant rights and landlord responsibilities under Florida law. 20. In the context of Florida real estate, what are severable rights, and how can they impact property ownership? A. Rights to modify the exterior of a property. B. Rights to sever a property into multiple lots. C. The ability to sell or lease surface, mineral, or air rights separately from the land. D. Rights to separate a property from homeowners association governance. Answer C. The ability to sell or lease surface, mineral, or air rights separately from the land. Explanation. Severable rights in Florida real estate refer to the ability of a property owner to sell or lease separate rights associated with the property, such as surface rights, mineral rights, or air rights, independent of the land itself. 21. What are the primary components of a real estate appraisal in Florida? A. Inspection, market analysis, and price suggestion. B. Property location, size, and purchase price. C. Property condition, comparable sales, and market trends. D. Property age, tax history, and current use. Answer C. Property condition, comparable sales, and market trends. Explanation. A real estate appraisal in Florida typically includes an evaluation of the property's condition, analysis of comparable sales, and consideration of current market trends to determine the property's value. 22. Define the term lien and its implications in real estate transactions in Florida. A. A legal claim or hold on a property as security for a debt or charge. B. An agreement to lease a property for a specified period. C. A boundary dispute between neighboring properties. D. A government restriction on property use. Answer. A. A legal claim or hold on a property as security for a debt or charge. Explanation. A lien in Florida real estate is a legal claim against a property, typically due to unpaid debts like mortgages, taxes, or contractor fees, and it must be satisfied before clear title can be transferred. 23. Explain the concept and legal requirements of earnest money in a property transaction. A. A mandatory tax paid to the state during property transactions. B. A refundable deposit to secure a mortgage loan. C. A non-refundable fee for property inspections. D. A deposit showing the buyer's commitment applied to the purchase price at closing. Answer D. A deposit showing the buyer's commitment applied to the purchase price at closing. Explanation. Earnest money in Florida is a deposit made by a buyer to demonstrate their serious intent to purchase a property. It's held in an escrow account and typically applied toward the purchase price at closing. 24. What is zoning in real estate, and how does it affect property use in Florida? A. A method of categorizing properties by age and condition. B. Regulations determining how properties can be used or developed. C. A system for setting property prices. D. The process of dividing land into residential and commercial areas. Answer B. Regulations determining how properties can be used or developed. Explanation. Zoning in Florida real estate refers to municipal or county regulations that dictate how properties in specific areas can be used or developed, such as residential, commercial, or industrial uses. 25. Scenario. A tenant in Florida discovers significant mold in their rental unit. What are their rights and the landlord's obligations? A. The tenant must clean the mold. The landlord has no obligations. B. The landlord must remedy the situation. The tenant may withhold rent until resolved. C. The tenant can immediately terminate the lease without consequences. D. Both parties must share the cost of mold removal. Answer B. The landlord must remedy the situation. The tenant may withhold rent until resolved. Explanation. In Florida, landlords are obligated to maintain rental properties in a habitable condition, including addressing mold issues. Tenants may have the right to withhold rent or take other legal actions if the landlord fails to remedy significant mold problems. 26. Describe the impact of the Fair Housing Act on real estate practices in Florida. A. It limits the number of properties a person can own. B. It prohibits discrimination in housing based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. C. It regulates housing prices. D. It mandates energy efficiency in housing. Answer. B. It prohibits discrimination in housing based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. Explanation. The Fair Housing Act has a significant impact on real estate practices in Florida, as it prohibits discrimination in the sale, rental, and financing of dwellings based on race, color, religion, sex, national origin, familial status, or disability. 27. What are the legal responsibilities of a real estate agent in disclosing property defects in Florida? A. Agents are not required to disclose defects. B. Disclose only defects that they personally observe. C. Disclose all known material defects of the property. D. Only disclose defects if asked by the buyer. Answer. C. Disclose all known material defects of the property. Explanation. Real estate agents in Florida have a legal responsibility to disclose all known material defects of a property to potential buyers. This includes any issues that could affect the property's value or desirability. 28. Explain the purpose of a market analysis in real estate. A. To assess the environmental impact of a property. B. To determine the best marketing strategies for selling a property. C. To evaluate a property's value based on market conditions and comparable sales. D. To analyze the demographics of potential buyers. Answer. C. To evaluate a property's value based on market conditions and comparable sales. Explanation. A market analysis in real estate is used to evaluate a property's value by examining current market conditions, including supply and demand, and comparing the property to similar properties that have recently sold in the area. 29. Scenario. A Florida property owner wants to sell their waterfront property. What specific environmental regulations must they consider? A. Regulations regarding the height of buildings near the coast. B. Environmental impact regulations related to water quality and marine life protection. C. The color and style of waterfront properties. D. No specific regulations as Florida encourages waterfront development. Answer. B. Environmental impact regulations related to water quality and marine life protection. Explanation. When selling waterfront property in Florida, owners must consider specific environmental regulations related to protecting water quality, marine life, and coastal ecosystems, which might affect the property's use and development. 30. What is a short sale in real estate, and under what circumstances might it occur in Florida? A. A quick sale of a property within 30 days. B. Selling a property for less than the outstanding mortgage balance with lender approval. C. A sale where the seller offers a substantial discount. D. A temporary transfer of property ownership. Answer. B. Selling a property for less than the outstanding mortgage balance with lender approval. Explanation. A short sale in real estate occurs when a property is sold for less than the amount owed on the mortgage, with the lender's approval. It typically happens when the homeowner is facing financial hardship and cannot maintain mortgage payments. 31. Define capital gains tax and its relevance to selling real estate in Florida. A. A tax on the overall value of the property. B. A tax on the profit made from selling a property. C. A fixed tax rate applied to all real estate sales. D. A tax on the initial purchase price of the property. Answer. B. A tax on the profit made from selling a property. Explanation. Capital gains tax in real estate is a tax on the profit earned from the sale of a property. In Florida, this applies to the difference between the selling price and the original purchase price, minus applicable expenses and exemptions. 32. In Florida, what constitutes a breach of contract in real estate transactions, and what are the potential remedies? A. Missing a mortgage payment, leading to foreclosure. B. Failure to adhere to the terms, with remedies including cancellation or damages. C. Selling to another buyer for a higher price, with no specific remedies. D. Changing the closing date without penalties. Answer: B. Failure to adhere to the terms, with remedies including cancellation or damages. Explanation: a breach of contract in Florida real estate transactions occurs when either party fails to fulfill the terms of the contract. Remedies can include cancellation of the contract or seeking damages for losses incurred. 33. Describe the process of foreclosure in Florida and the rights of homeowners. A. Immediate eviction of homeowners upon missing a mortgage payment. B. A judicial process allowing homeowners time to rectify missed payments. C. An automatic transfer of property to the lender. D. Foreclosure only occurs for property tax delinquency. Answer: B. A judicial process allowing homeowners time to rectify missed payments. Explanation: foreclosure in Florida is a judicial process where the lender must file a lawsuit against the homeowner. Homeowners have the right to challenge the foreclosure and may have opportunities to rectify missed payments or negotiate alternatives. 34. What is the purpose and process of obtaining a certificate of occupancy in Florida real estate? A. To certify the property is free from liens. B. To ensure the property meets building codes and is habitable. C. To confirm the property's zoning compliance. D. To register the property for tax purposes. Answer: B. To ensure the property meets building codes and is habitable. Explanation: a certificate of occupancy in Florida is issued after a property has been inspected and deemed habitable, meeting all building codes and safety standards. It's required before a new building or significantly altered property can be legally occupied. 35. Scenario: a property in Florida is rezoned, affecting its value and use. What recourse do property owners have? A. The property owner must accept the rezoning without recourse. B. Seek a variance or challenge the rezoning decision legally. C. Apply for immediate compensation from the state. D. Rezone the property back through a public petition. Answer: B. Seek a variance or challenge the rezoning decision legally. Explanation: when a property in Florida is rezoned in a way that affects its value and use, the property owner can seek a variance, which is a request for an exception to the zoning rules, or legally challenge the rezoning decision. 36. Explain the significance of homestead laws in Florida and their effect on property owners. A. Laws protecting homeowners from rapid property value increases. B. Laws providing a tax break on secondary properties. C. Laws offering protection against forced sale and property tax relief. D. Laws restricting the sale of properties within family lines. Answer: C. Laws offering protection against forced sale and property tax relief. Explanation: Florida's homestead laws provide significant benefits to homeowners, including protection against forced sale by creditors, except for specific debts like mortgages, and property tax relief through the homestead exemption. 37. What is the Florida Real Estate Recovery Fund, and who does it protect? A. A fund to assist first-time homebuyers. B. A fund protecting real estate agents from bankruptcy. C. A fund compensating consumers harmed by a real estate licensee's misconduct. D. A fund for restoring historical properties. Answer: C. A fund compensating consumers harmed by a real estate licensee's misconduct. Explanation: the Florida Real Estate Recovery Fund is designed to compensate individuals who have suffered monetary damages due to the wrongful acts of a licensed real estate professional. It offers a form of protection to consumers in real estate transactions. 38. Describe the legal concept of easement and its types in Florida real estate. A. A temporary suspension of property taxes. B. A right-of-way or use granted over another's property. C. A legal boundary dispute resolution. D. A method for changing property zoning. Answer B. A right-of-way or use granted over another's property. Explanation. An easement in Florida real estate is a legal right granted to use or access part of another person's property without owning it. Common types include utility easements and easements for access, like driveways or pathways. 39. Scenario. A real estate agent in Florida is representing both the buyer and seller in a transaction. What disclosures are required? A. No disclosures are necessary in dual representation. B. Disclosure of the commission percentage only. C. Full disclosure of dual representation and written consent from both parties. D. Only disclosure to the seller is required. Answer C. Full disclosure of dual representation and written consent from both parties. Explanation. In Florida, when a real estate agent represents both the buyer and seller in a transaction, dual agency, they must provide full disclosure about this arrangement to both parties and obtain their written consent, acknowledging the potential conflict of interest. 40. In Florida, what are the legal implications of a real estate agent operating without a license? A. A warning for the first offense. B. Civil penalties and possible criminal charges. C. Mandatory attendance in real estate classes. D. Automatic issuance of a license after a year. Answer B. Civil penalties and possible criminal charges. Explanation. Operating as a real estate agent without a license in Florida can lead to serious legal consequences, including civil penalties and potential criminal charges, as it's a violation of state real estate laws. 41. What is the purpose of a title search in Florida real estate transactions? A. To check the legal ownership history of the property. B. To search for potential buyers of the property. C. To determine the market value of the property. D. To inspect the physical condition of the property. Answer A. To check the legal ownership history of the property. Explanation. A title search in Florida real estate transactions is conducted to review the legal ownership history of the property, ensuring there are no liens, disputes, or undisclosed heirs that could jeopardize the transfer of a clear title. 42. Define the term real property and how it differs from personal property in Florida. A. Real property is land and buildings. Personal property includes movable items. B. Real property is for residential use. Personal property is for commercial use. C. Real property includes stocks and bonds. Personal property includes land. D. There is no legal difference between the two in Florida. Answer A. Real property is land and buildings. Personal property includes movable items. Explanation. In Florida, real property refers to land and any permanent structures attached to it, such as buildings, whereas personal property includes movable items like furniture, cars, and personal belongings. 43. Explain Florida's deceptive and unfair trade practices law in the context of real estate. A. A law that sets fixed commission rates for real estate agents. B. A law prohibiting misleading or fraudulent practices in real estate. C. A regulation for equal distribution of properties among agents. D. A guideline for ethical advertising in real estate. Answer B. A law prohibiting misleading or fraudulent practices in real estate. Explanation. Florida's deceptive and unfair trade practices law is designed to protect consumers, including those in real estate transactions, from deceptive, fraudulent, or unfair practices in trade and commerce. 44. What are impact fees in Florida real estate development, and when are they applied? A. Fees for environmental impact assessments on new constructions. B. Charges levied on developers to fund public infrastructure improvements. C. Annual fees for property maintenance and utilities. D. One-time fees for zoning changes. Answer: B. Charges levied on developers to fund public infrastructure improvements. Explanation: impact fees in Florida are charges imposed on new development projects to fund the cost of providing necessary public services, like roads, schools, and utilities, as a result of the new development. 45 scenario. A buyer in Florida discovers an undisclosed easement after purchasing a property. What are their legal options? A. The buyer must accept the easement with no recourse. B. Seek legal action for non-disclosure against the seller or agent. C. Request an immediate property revaluation. D. Apply to the court to have the easement removed. Answer: B. Seek legal action for non-disclosure against the seller or agent. Explanation: in Florida, if a buyer discovers an undisclosed easement after purchasing a property, they may have legal grounds to take action against the seller or the real estate agent for failing to disclose this important information. 46. Describe the legal requirements for establishing a joint tenancy in Florida real estate. A. A mutual agreement between tenants to share the property. B. Ownership must be divided equally among all tenants. C. A legal document specifying the tenancy terms. D. Approval from the local real estate commission. Answer: B. Ownership must be divided equally among all tenants. Explanation: to establish a joint tenancy in Florida real estate, all co-owners must have equal ownership shares in the property. This arrangement also includes the right of survivorship, where the interest of a deceased owner automatically transfers to the surviving owners. 47. What is probate in the context of Florida real estate, and when is it required? A. A process to resolve property disputes among owners. B. The legal process to validate a will and distribute a deceased person's property. C. A procedure to appraise property for tax purposes. D. A method to change property zoning post-mortem. Answer: B. The legal process to validate a will and distribute a deceased person's property. Explanation: probate in Florida real estate refers to the legal process through which a deceased person's will is validated, and their property is distributed to heirs or beneficiaries. It is required when a property owner dies and leaves real estate that must be transferred. 48. Explain the concept of net listing and its legality in Florida real estate. A. A listing where the agent's commission is the net profit from the sale. B. A digital-only listing method. C. A listing agreement with no commission involved. D. A listing for properties that are net zero in energy consumption. Answer: A. A listing where the agent's commission is the net profit from the sale. Explanation: a net listing in Florida real estate is a type of listing agreement where the agent's commission is the difference between the sale price and the amount the owner wants to net from the sale. While legal, it can create conflicts of interest and is often discouraged. 49. Scenario: a Florida homeowner is behind on their mortgage payments. What foreclosure processes and protections are available to them? A. Immediate eviction without notice. B. A judicial foreclosure process with the opportunity to catch up on payments. C. Automatic transfer of ownership to the lender. D. Mandatory refinancing of the mortgage. Answer: B. A judicial foreclosure process with the opportunity to catch up on payments. Explanation: in Florida, if a homeowner falls behind on mortgage payments, a judicial foreclosure process is initiated. The homeowner is given notice and the opportunity to pay the overdue amount to stop the foreclosure, as well as legal avenues to challenge the foreclosure. 50. What is the role of the Florida Real Estate Commission in regulating real estate agents and brokers? A. Providing ongoing training and education. B. Licensing, regulating, and disciplining real estate professionals. C. Marketing properties statewide. D. Setting property prices. Answer B. Licensing, regulating, and disciplining real estate professionals. Explanation. The Florida Real Estate Commission, FREC, plays a critical role in the real estate industry by licensing, regulating, and disciplining real estate agents and brokers in the state. FREC ensures that they adhere to legal and ethical standards. 51. Define homestead exemption in Florida and its impact on homeowners. A. A reduction in property taxes for all homeowners. B. An exemption from state income tax for homeowners. C. A reduction in property taxes for primary residence homeowners. D. A grant for first-time homebuyers. Answer C. A reduction in property taxes for primary residence homeowners. Explanation. The homestead exemption in Florida provides a reduction in property taxes for homeowners on their primary residence. This exemption lowers the taxable value of the home, resulting in lower annual property taxes. 52. In Florida, what constitutes a valid lease agreement for a residential property? A. An oral agreement between the landlord and tenant. B. A written agreement, including terms and conditions, signed by both parties. C. A handshake agreement with a witness. D. A lease agreement notarized by a lawyer. Answer B. A written agreement, including terms and conditions, signed by both parties. Explanation. For a lease agreement to be valid in Florida for a residential property, it must be in writing and include specific terms and conditions of the lease, such as rental amount, duration, and the responsibilities of both parties. It must be signed by both the landlord and tenant. 53. Describe the process and importance of home inspection in a Florida real estate transaction. A. A mandatory government evaluation of property taxes. B. An optional process for assessing a property's aesthetic value. C. A thorough examination of a property's condition before purchase. D. A quick walkthrough of the property by the real estate agent. Answer C. A thorough examination of a property's condition before purchase. Explanation. A home inspection in a Florida real estate transaction is a critical process where a professional inspector assesses the property's condition, including its structure, systems, and any potential repairs or issues. This helps buyers make informed decisions and negotiate accordingly. 54. What are severable rights in real estate, and how do they apply to property ownership in Florida? A. The rights to divide and sell portions of the property. B. Rights that allow property division among heirs. C. The ability to sell or lease surface, mineral, or air rights separately from the land. D. Rights to sever a property from municipal services. Answer C. The ability to sell or lease surface, mineral, or air rights separately from the land. Explanation. Severable rights in Florida real estate refer to the ability of a property owner to sell or lease different aspects of their property, such as surface rights, mineral rights, or air rights, separately from the actual land. This can impact property ownership and usage. 55. Scenario. A Florida property is sold with an undisclosed sinkhole issue. What legal recourse does the new owner have? A. Request the state to fill the sinkhole. B. Seek legal action against the seller for nondisclosure. C. Automatic refund of the purchase price. D. No recourse. Property is sold as is. Answer. B. Seek legal action against the seller for nondisclosure. Explanation. In Florida, if a property is sold with an undisclosed sinkhole issue, the new owner may have legal recourse against the seller. Sellers are required to disclose known material defects, such as sinkholes, that could affect the property's value or safety. 56. Explain dual agency in Florida real estate and the associated legal obligations. A. Representing both the buyer and seller in the same transaction with separate agents. B. An agent representing two buyers competing for the same property. C. Representing both the buyer and seller in the same transaction with full disclosure and consent. D. Operating as a real estate agent and a mortgage broker simultaneously. Answer: C. Representing both the buyer and seller in the same transaction with full disclosure and consent. Explanation: dual agency in Florida real estate occurs when an agent represents both the buyer and seller in the same transaction. This arrangement requires full disclosure to both parties and their informed consent, as it presents a potential conflict of interest. 57. What is a 1031 exchange in real estate, and how is it used in Florida? A. A quick sale process for properties under a certain value. B. A tax-deferred exchange of investment properties. C. An exchange of properties between family members. D. A temporary property swap for vacation purposes. Answer: B. A tax-deferred exchange of investment properties. Explanation: a 1031 exchange in real estate, applicable in Florida, is a process where an investor can defer capital gains taxes by exchanging one investment property for another. This allows investors to reinvest their capital gains into new properties without immediate tax implications. 58. Describe the legal framework surrounding mobile homes in Florida real estate. A. Mobile homes are considered personal property and are exempt from real estate laws. B. They are treated the same as traditional homes in real estate transactions. C. Special zoning and building codes apply to mobile homes. D. Mobile homes can only be sold through government agencies. Answer: C. Special zoning and building codes apply to mobile homes. Explanation: in Florida, mobile homes are subject to specific legal frameworks, including special zoning requirements and building codes. They are often classified differently from traditional homes and may have unique regulations regarding their placement and sale. 59. Scenario: a real estate agent in Florida fails to disclose a conflict of interest. What are the potential consequences? A. A fine and mandatory ethics training. B. Suspension or revocation of their real estate license. C. No consequences, as conflicts of interest are common. D. A reward for maximizing profits. Answer: B. Suspension or revocation of their real estate license. Explanation: failing to disclose a conflict of interest is a serious ethical breach for a real estate agent in Florida. It can lead to disciplinary actions, including the suspension or revocation of their real estate license and potentially legal consequences. 60. In Florida, how is market value determined in the context of real estate appraisals? A. Based on the highest offer received for the property. B. Through a standardized state pricing system. C. By evaluating comparable sales, property condition, and market trends. D. Solely on the property's location and size. Answer: C. By evaluating comparable sales, property condition, and market trends. Explanation: the market value of a property in Florida is determined through real estate appraisals, which consider various factors such as recent sales of similar properties, comparables, the current condition of the property, and overall market trends. 61. What are riparian rights in Florida real estate, and how do they affect property owners? A. Rights to access public utilities. B. Rights related to the use of water bodies adjacent to the property. C. Rights to restrict public access to nearby water bodies. D. Rights to claim land extending into water bodies. Answer: B. Rights related to the use of water bodies adjacent to the property. Explanation: riparian rights in Florida are legal rights of property owners whose land adjoins a natural water body. They include the use of water for reasonable and beneficial purposes, like irrigation and access to the water body. 62. Define mortgage fraud and its implications in Florida real estate transactions. A. The failure to pay a mortgage on time. B. Any intentional falsification or omission of information on mortgage documents. C. Negotiating mortgage rates. D. Changing mortgage lenders. Answer B. Any intentional falsification or omission of information on mortgage documents. Explanation. Mortgage fraud in Florida involves intentionally providing false information, misrepresenting facts, or omitting key details on mortgage-related documents. It can lead to severe legal consequences, including fines and imprisonment. 63. Explain the role and responsibilities of a community association manager, CIM, in Florida. A. Managing community events and social activities. B. Overseeing the maintenance and administration of a condominium or homeowners association. C. Handling sales and purchases of properties within the community. D. Providing security services within a residential community. Answer B. Overseeing the maintenance and administration of a condominium or homeowners association. Explanation. A community association manager, CIM, in Florida is responsible for managing the day-to-day operations of a condominium or homeowners association. This includes handling administrative tasks, maintaining common areas, and enforcing community rules. 64. What are the legal consequences of practicing real estate without a license in Florida? A. A warning and a probation period. B. Mandatory completion of a real estate course. C. Civil and criminal penalties, including fines and possible imprisonment. D. Requirement to pass the real estate exam within 6 months. Answer C. Civil and criminal penalties, including fines and possible imprisonment. Explanation. Practicing real estate without a license in Florida is illegal and can result in significant legal consequences. Individuals caught doing so may face civil and criminal penalties, including hefty fines and potential imprisonment. 65. Scenario. A real estate development in Florida is impacting a protected natural habitat. What environmental regulations come into play? A. The Florida Building Code only. B. Environmental regulations such as the Endangered Species Act and wetland protection laws. C. No regulations if the development has local government approval. D. Only regulations related to building aesthetics. Answer B. Environmental regulations such as the Endangered Species Act and wetland protection laws. Explanation. Real estate developments in Florida that impact protected natural habitats must comply with various environmental regulations. These may include the Endangered Species Act, wetland protection laws, and other state and federal environmental protection statutes. 66. Describe the process of obtaining a variance for property use in Florida. A. Applying to the local government for an exception to zoning regulations. B. Filing a request with the Florida Real Estate Commission. C. A public vote in the community where the property is located. D. Automatic approval after owning the property for 5 years. Answer A. Applying to the local government for an exception to zoning regulations. Explanation. To obtain a variance in Florida, a property owner must apply to the local government, requesting an exception to specific zoning regulations. This process usually involves proving that the existing zoning laws cause undue hardship or practical difficulties. 67. What is the significance of the Burt J. Harris Jr. Private Property Rights Protection Act in Florida? A. It restricts private property rights to protect the environment. B. It provides protections against unfair government regulations on property use. C. It mandates equal property rights for all citizens. D. It governs the inheritance of private property. Answer B. It provides protections against unfair government regulations on property use. Explanation. The Burt J. Harris Jr. Private Property Rights Protection Act in Florida is designed to protect property owners from unfair government actions that inordinately burden, restrict, or limit private property rights without amounting to a taking under the U.S. Constitution. 68. Explain the concept of blockbusting in real estate and its legality in Florida. A. The legal practice of buying multiple adjacent properties. B. A marketing strategy for selling blocks of homes at once. C. An illegal practice of inducing owners to sell by suggesting the entry of a protected class. D. The division of a large property into smaller parcels for sale. Answer. C. An illegal practice of inducing owners to sell by suggesting the entry of a protected class. Explanation. Blockbusting is an illegal practice in real estate, where homeowners are induced to sell their properties by suggesting that people of a particular race, religion, or class are moving into the neighborhood, potentially affecting property values. 69. Scenario. A Florida homeowner discovers their home is in a flood zone after purchase. What disclosure laws might have been violated? A. Zoning disclosure laws. B. No disclosure laws, as flood zone information is public. C. Laws requiring disclosure of material facts affecting property value. D. Aesthetic disclosure laws. Answer. C. Laws requiring disclosure of material facts affecting property value. Explanation. In Florida, sellers are required to disclose material facts that could affect the property's value or desirability, including whether the home is located in a flood zone. Failing to disclose this information could be considered a violation of these laws. 70. What is the truth in millage? TRIM notice, and what information does it provide to Florida property owners? A. Notice of environmental compliance. B. Information on property tax rates and assessments. C. A summary of zoning changes in the area. D. Disclosure of nearby development projects. Answer. B. Information on property tax rates and assessments. Explanation. The truth in millage. TRIM. Notice in Florida provides property owners with information about proposed property tax rates, assessment changes, and details about public hearings where these taxes will be discussed. It helps owners understand their tax obligations and any changes. 71. In Florida, how does adverse possession work, and what are its requirements? A. Gaining legal ownership by renting the property long-term. B. Automatically owning any abandoned property. C. Acquiring title to property through continuous, open, and notorious possession. D. Claiming property through verbal agreement with the owner. Answer. C. Acquiring title to property through continuous, open, and notorious possession. Explanation. Adverse possession in Florida allows a person to acquire legal ownership of property if they possess it continuously, openly, and notoriously for a specific period, typically 7 years, and meet certain legal criteria, including paying property taxes. 72. Describe the implications of homestead protection for property owners in Florida. A. Protection against zoning changes. B. Exemption from all property taxes. C. Protection against forced sale by creditors and property tax exemptions. D. Automatic qualification for mortgages. Answer. C. Protection against forced sale by creditors and property tax exemptions. Explanation. Homestead protection in Florida offers significant benefits to homeowners, including protection against forced sale by creditors, except under specific circumstances, and property tax exemptions, which reduce the taxable value of their primary residence. 73. What is the purpose of a good faith estimate in Florida real estate transactions? A. To provide a binding agreement on the final sale price. B. To offer a non-binding estimate of closing costs and loan terms. C. To guarantee a fixed interest rate on a mortgage. D. To estimate the annual property taxes. Answer B. To offer a non-binding estimate of closing costs and loan terms. Explanation. A good faith estimate in Florida real estate transactions provides a non-binding estimate of the closing costs and terms of a loan. It helps buyers understand potential expenses and terms before committing to a mortgage. 74. Scenario. A buyer in Florida is interested in a home, but the neighborhood is under a homeowners association, HOA. What should the buyer be aware of? A. The color they must paint their house. B. HOA fees, rules, and regulations, and how they might affect their ownership. C. The requirement to participate in community events. D. Mandatory gardening and landscaping services. Answer B. HOA fees, rules, and regulations, and how they might affect their ownership. Explanation. When considering a home in a neighborhood with a homeowners association, HOA, in Florida, buyers should be aware of the HOA fees, rules, and regulations. These can affect various aspects of property ownership, including maintenance, renovations, and community amenities. 75. Explain the importance of due diligence in Florida real estate and what it typically involves. A. Ensuring the property has a clear title only. B. Confirming the property's aesthetic appeal. C. Comprehensive evaluation of a property before finalizing a purchase. D. Checking the property's compliance with local color schemes. Answer C. Comprehensive evaluation of a property before finalizing a purchase. Explanation. Due diligence in Florida real estate is a crucial process where a potential buyer thoroughly evaluates a property before completing the purchase. It typically involves reviewing the property's condition, legal status, zoning, environmental factors, and any other pertinent details.